Alright guys, it's Copper Cutlass, and I'm just making this video to kind of give you guys a heads up of what's coming up. So, of course, my furnace kicks on right as I start talking, but you guys know we've been prepping everything. Yesterday, I actually got the block all cleaned up. I knocked the cam bearings out of it. I went through the oil passages, cleaned everything out. This bottle, I highly recommend if you're going to be doing like this type of cleaning. The sprayer is really adjustable, and you can actually build some pressure out of it. So what I was able to do is kind of squeeze this in here and spray the snot out of it until I started to actually kind of pressurize the passage, and it started to shoot everything out of that whole area. Now, before I completely assemble everything, I'm going to blow some compressed air through it. The whole idea with the degreaser is to get all of the oils out of there, and if there's any form of shrapnel, it'll get blown out with compressed air. We go through all the passages on the lifters. We'll go through the plug, where the plugs go and all that. Obviously, you guys know we have lifter restrictors in here, and we also have our cam feed restrictors from the mains into the cam bearing area. So I have to make a list in what order I want to do, and I'm going to try to make these videos kind of more individualized so that you guys can kind of see more of the process of how I put my stuff together. Not that there is anything special to what I do, it's just basic engine assembly. I am going to file fit one ring. I'll probably cover that. I actually have to go out and get a new cutoff wheel for my ring filer. We do it the old school way here. Trial and error. File, fit, file, fit. I'll show you guys how I do that. I do have the old cam bearings here, which are in pretty good shape, but they got beat up in the removal process. But we got brand new Durabond bearings here. They're not the back cut ones. I wish they were, but that's all I could get. I also have my main caps already glued on with the shim stock. I have to trim it. I actually was over at the machine shop. My machinist who machined this block sleeved it and did the original machine work on it, and I asked him what his process was and what he would recommend. The spray adhesive is really expensive, so what I opted to do was to use some shellac, and that stuff dried up real nice overnight, so we're ready to just trim these out and get these going. But some of the more important things to do is the measuring. We're going to kind of start out, and the first thing I have to do is get the main caps on and measure the bearing clearances for the crank journals for the main bearings. And then from there, we're going to remeasure all of our rods and all that stuff. We kind of know where everything is at with that, believe it or not, but I'm going to do it just to check it all. It's going to take some time. I don't exactly have a rod vise. I keep saying I'm going to order one, but we'll see how far we get today. If I don't get to that today, then I'll order a rod vise this week or make one. It's actually quite simple to make a rod vise. It's not very complicated at all. And something I can utilize to hold the rods properly. But either way, this is a heads up what I got going on. So between now and the next couple of hours, whoever watches this, if you guys got suggestions on areas where maybe I should pay a little bit more attention during my assembly, let me know. But I think the assembly on this is going to be pretty straightforward. I'll show you when I install the cam bearings. I actually have a very specific tool to do this with. It's almost like a factory type tool. I bought this from the Toombs Brothers Racing. They are machinists, and they have a custom built cam install tool for the Oldsmobiles, which is pretty much almost like what the factory used to use to install the cam bearings. I have seen the factory tool, and they pretty much mimicked it. So yeah, we got everything's pretty much ready to go. We just have to trim our shim stock, install, measure, start putting stuff together. But it's time to get rolling on this project. So stay tuned, share, like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram as Copper Cutlass, and let me know if there's particular things you guys would like to see. I know I've had a couple of messages through Instagram about engine combinations and recommendations, and I guess I can touch on that stuff a little bit if you guys want on what I've done over the years, because I've had combinations from damn near stock to what's in the car now. We're doing 11 1150 at 1151 at 100 and almost 16 miles per hour for pretty much just an iron-headed pump gas small block old. So it's not too shabby. I wouldn't call it completely wild, but it gets the job done, and it certainly falls more into the realm of the race type build. Some people would call it mild just because of how it's built or it is, but the effort that it takes to get that type of power and reliability really does come down to your setup, your assembly, your prep, and overall thinking. On this particular engine, we actually do have some really good components, even though it kind of really started out as a really smoked out engine. We did have, ultimately a wrist pin on a stock rod that bit us in the ass, and we're turning 7,000 RPM on stock rods with Preston pins. We're playing with dynamite. So, but we got ARP rod bolts, we got main studs, head studs, we got a Cloy's timing chain, we got the cap straps, which is like really outdated thinking, but that's how the block came, and I was trying to salvage this block. So ultimately, this engine started out with 7 spun rod bearings because they built the engine too tight, and then the clearance, this is why we were also using shim stock, is when they machined the caps, I believe they align honed it before they factored any of that in, and it tightened up the clearance down to like 2 thou on the mains, and I like to have like almost 3 and a little over 3 on the number 5. So I kind of like to blend. I like to say that if you are in the Oldsmobile world and you own these 2 books, the Mondello book and the Bill Travato Max Performance book, you put your clearances somewhere in between the middle of those 2 recommendations, and I think you'll be all right. You'll be all set to go. But we got nice Harlan Sharps. I got a good angle cam, solid lifters. We got a BHJ balancer. We got an SFI approved high inertia flywheel, or flex plate, I should say. The pistons aren't the best. Remember, this engine was originally built during COVID, and getting pistons was kind of hard. And these pistons got really cheap. I think I bought these for $350 for all 8. They're not the best, but you know what? If you were, and it's not the best ring pack. The modern pistons have a tighter ring pack with like 3/16 rings, and that'll also help you make power. But again, I built this engine with very little, and I think all said and done, I think I got maybe like 4,500 into it, and we're using an RPM intake, which my buddy is blasting for me, and then we put J heads on it, which they're at my buddy's shop right now. I don't know if they got to flow them. Really good friend of his, which I also knew, passed away, and I'm not worried about that right now. We're not even ready to put cylinder heads on yet. But when we do get the cylinder heads on there, I believe he is going to have a blueprint for them, which will be kind of cool to share with you guys. And we might even put this on the dyno, because it's going to have its own carburetor, its own ignition setup. This engine is going to be like its own standalone thing that we're not going to have to pick parts off of the other engine to get it going. We have enough stuff to have that, which is nice. And then, so yeah, the saga will continue, and we're gonna get this done. So hopefully I haven't bored you guys, but stick around.